早上的3位讲者也与我们一起上台合影留念。Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome David Kuo, co-founder of Eno, Peter Westerbecker, co-founder of Lightmeer, and Ben Bateman, Senior Director of Strategic Programs, Indiegogo. Gentlemen, please put your thumbs up. Please stick your hands out and put your thumbs up for the photographers to take a few more photos. 再次的感谢外贸协会的秘书长，那同时也感谢我们今天早上的3位讲者。Thank you, dear guests of honor and keynote speakers. You may now return to your seat. And now is the moment we've all been waiting for. Today's first keynote presentation. Today's first presenter will be David Kuo, co-founder of Eno, a startup mentor and early-stage angel investor. David focuses on mentoring early-stage entrepreneurs and helping startup companies in growing phase expand to international markets and fundraise with international as well as local investors. He's frequently invited to speak in cities across Asia and judge international startup demo shows. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome David Kuo.
谢谢，大家早，大家早。Good morning, everybody. Good morning, 大家早。你好，你好 ，distinguished guest, 各位来宾。So I will spend the next 20 minutes to share some of the exciting things happening in Taiwan, especially in the Taiwan ecosystem. So today we're going to share 3 things. Take a deep dive to what is happening in Taiwan ecosystem, and most importantly, what is an ecosystem. Second, we're going to talk about opportunity and challenges, and what are the next steps. That will be the last thing to conclude the presentation. So let's go on. So what is an ecosystem? So ecosystem is basically made out of people, startup, and the main objective is to what? To help startup. So in this system, there's different stakeholders, ranging from investors, accelerator, government, policymakers, mentor, anything that has a positive, negative impact on the ecosystem, we consider as a key stakeholder in the system. They are crucial to the development maturity of any ecosystem. And today we're going to focus on Taiwan. So the current outlook of what is happening is Taiwan ecosystem in Asia and the world is fairly young. So if we would trace the starting date, it's pretty much very hard. But if we take a look at the media coverage, so the media coverage started about year 2010 and 2011. That was the moment where a lot of Main Street start covering. There's the foundation of AppWorks, which is the major accelerator here in Taiwan. The government started to take part about year 2014, and the last 3 years, there's a lot of development from Taiwan and with international markets. There's actually starting to have merger acquisition happening in Taiwan, and also the investment on the seed and the angel round and this A round are happening with international investors. So it's a young uprising, but there's yet a lot of things to learn. So that's what we're going to share with everybody. And we see there's some international guests, and hopefully Taiwan will be your best place in Asia. I'm sure there's a lot of competing cities in Asia, but I'm from Taiwan. So talk about acquisition. There's not a lot, but there are some significant ones. A lot of you probably know Wen Huang from Amorize got acquired with 25 million, and Huskal got acquired in Naver. Actually, they actually met in B-Dash in Tokyo, B-Dash in Fukuoka. They met there, and the transaction was made here in Taiwan. These are the most recent. There's not a lot, but it's actually a good start. Let's take a look at the investment. There's an amazing report by the Taiwan Research Institution, a semi-government agency called Taijingyuan, TIER. There's a link. You can actually download it. It has all the investment portfolio from the past 2 years. And let's just take a look of what's happening in the past 2 years. Average, there's about 55 transactions. In the 2 years ago, and this was last year, you can look at there's actually slow growth in the A and the C round, and the amount of investment is actually uprising. Is it good for Taiwan? Of course, it is amazing happening to Taiwan. But compared to our neighboring country, such as Japan, Korea, Southeast Asia, there's a lot for us to catch up. But it's a good start. We got to stay positive when we're talking about ecosystem. This is a great work by 500 volunteers that we have found across Taiwan. So 3 years ago, me and my team, we basically went to Taipei, Taichung, Kaohsiung, different stakeholders. We have competencies. It's important for us to communicate. Communicate on important aspects, including definition. What is an accelerator? Is funding important for accelerator? If your accelerator is not funded, do you still consider it as accelerator? What is a course space? Is it a business center? So that took about 3 years, and we're so proud and so blessed that actually we have 500 people in the line chat group. If you're really interested to join that line chat group, please contact my community manager, Eileen. She will try her best to add you in the group. So what's happening in this ecosystem? Well, we divided in 3 sections: pre-startup, startup, and growth. And you can see there are different roles that everybody's playing. This was a chart about 6 months ago. It took us 2 weeks in the line chat right before Christmas, and it's widely used by Taiwan government and also by the media, Business Next. It was published. So we redo this every 6 months. As you know, everything happens. Startup comes and goes. So is a service provider. So we see there's an increase of non-funding accelerator. There is a consolidated international events such as Innovex. Innovex is a great example that it's only 2-year-old, but it's an uprising event. And then there's a high involvement between government and private sectors. And talking about government and private sector international, we're very excited that the Asian Silicon Valley is a key cornerstone of Taiwan's development. It combined with 40-some governments initiatives, it's worth $300 million across different ministries. We're also very happy, bonjour if you're from France, La French Tech. I'm very honored to also become the board on the La French Tech Taiwan team. And it's also been a pleasure working with Fukuoka City in Japan very closely. We're very happy that one of the Taiwan's first startup visa startup team was with us, and then they just opened up their company in Fukuoka City. It's the first Taiwanese team. So you can see collaboration is not only with the local government, but also with international. Why is government involved important? Let's say you're doing a fintech. You want to go to Japan. You met investor. Then the investor will ask you, how about your understanding of the Japanese regulation? So who do you go? Well, you call the mayor. You call the prime minister. You work with their team. If the policies are not allowed, well, it's actually going to present a lot of challenges for you. That's why policymakers and government becomes a crucial part for disruptive services. For opportunity in Taiwan right now, we would like Taiwan to be hub of Asia. Why? In geographic, you can take any low-cost airline or full airline, 3 hours, you will be there very fast within less than 3 or 4 hours. Talent and technology. Recently, we brought 6 amazing startup teams. I'm a venture partner of Clipchamp Taiwan. We brought 6 teams worth of $1 million, including Blocks, Event Extra, ODOP. They all want to set up their R&D and operation team here in Taiwan. Is it tough at the first? Yes. We need to understand the needs of international communities and also work closely with the government ecosystem bringing there. But we are there. So talent is very attractive. And also, it's a great testing market. Recently, I've been working with startup team for Korea and Japan. They actually have a dedicated team in China and a dedicated team in Taiwan. The Taiwan team is responsible for Southeast Asia development. Why? Because a lot of Southeast Asian Chinese watch TV from where? From Taiwan. So you can see startup expansion will sometimes leverage on the culture, and Taiwan has that unique, but we don't know sometimes. but this is why I'm sharing with you. So the key challenge is we need to let a lot of people know why Taiwan. Not just because we have Din Tai Fung here in Taiwan. Well, but there's a lot of things that, especially for software and hardware, we know there's a great attraction here in Shenzhen. But I'm sure with the recent government projects such as Triple, such as New Taipei City, we can work together. We can train the local manufacturer to speak. There was a one biggest joke is actually a lot of startup team, they have a biggest challenge communicating with the local manufacturer. You know why? Because startup team doesn't know how to use fax machines. So now we're trying to bridge these little things. Another example is if you're doing business in Taiwan, it requires a little chop, right? US startup team doesn't know what's a chop. So we had an incident where a local accountant quoted says $300 besides $20,000 NT on your registration fee. The startup team says, what? What's a chop? Why are you overcharging me? You can see these are little nuances, but these are the nuances that blocks the amazing startup team, the community to work together. So we're committed to work together, and we believe in no time, Taiwan will be the uprising hub in Taiwan. Policy. So policy and ease for international team to plug in is very crucial. I know the Uber Airbnb topic has been a top agenda in Taiwan government, but we're working on it. We're not there, but we're working on it. So how do we grow together? It's very important. So the first thing is we need to work together as 打群架. Very, very important. You know, a lot of people in Asia, we were not brought up working together. I'm sorry, my kindergarten teacher didn't teach me how to work together. What's working together? Because first thing mommy would say is mind your own business, right? 那不是你的事情啊，乖乖的, right? You're trained to behave. Well, so a lot of young entrepreneurs right now, they're actually being pulled back with this concept. So as an ecosystem, it's very critical to work together. So what do we mean by working together? Imagine, is it possible that a rising startup team that comes from a South City incubator in Kaohsiung, join AppWork or APOC accelerators in Taipei, got invested by W. Harper? Is it possible? Yes, it is happening. But it's only on the single digits. We need to make more. And I think it's really happening. So in our 500 people line chat, you know what we chat? Basically, anybody and everybody who has a question, there's no such thing as a stupid questions. So we really want the people in Taiwan to start communicating. Policies, it's very important. The past 2 years, the government has been working very hard. There's a working group on policies. How do we approach digital economy? How do we deal with O2O? How do we deal with shared economy? Yes, sometimes the government take a different position, but we're always happy that there's an open dialogue, and that's a key factor for a city to thrive. The resources where needed. Well, this is something that requires a weak conversation. Right now, the government had a project in Taiwan. Last year, we calculated there's about 40-some government initiatives across 15 ministries. So the government right now has set up ministry without portfolio that act as project manager, communicating with different ministry to deliver the resources at a different stage, at the pre-start stage, the startup stage, and the growth stage. And then also, we want to build a co-creation ecosystem. So this is probably my last slide, but I'm going to spend a bit of time on this. Why is inbound important to Taiwan ecosystem? What is inbound? It's like taking vacation. If you go to Hawaii to visit, it's outbound. But if your good friend from the US or from Finland coming in, it's called inbound. We believe that by bringing top startups to Taiwan, it will help the growth of Taiwan ecosystems. I think if you're really in the startup ecosystem as one of the service providers, you probably can feel it. But to a lot of people who are new to startup or to the new startup ecosystem, sometimes it's hard to imagine the government is helping foreigners while we have some challenges into our unemployment. It's a sensitive topic, but something that we need to do. Why is it important? Because by working with the international startup team, it's just like where we built the Science Park 30 years ago, right? Everything is new. The best way to learn about international ecosystem is to actually work with them. So what are the key stages for the international team to come in? Stage one, very important, it's called sightseeing. It's going to Taipei 101, 3-day short visit. It's coming to amazing conferences like Computex to meet with the people. So once they go back, they say, hey, Taiwan, it's not a bad choice. At least people will stop at the traffic light, right? The cities are clean. So they go back, they are the ambassador. Stage two is currently what's happening. We're not there in step 3, but in step 2. Step 2 is what? If it's IoT, if the team just actually raised on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, they'll probably find manufacturer here, but they are not set up company because they don't know much about how to set up a company in Taiwan. Or if the investor will be keen in investing in a team having a Taiwan operation teams. But it's happening. For example, Blocks. Blocks raised 1.7 million on Kickstarters. It's a Hong Kong, London startup teams, and they were with APOC Foundation in their accelerators. They create jobs of 20 people. It's amazing. They are really focused in Taiwan. They used to work with they are working with great manufacturer here in Taiwan. That's what we call step 2. And recently, we're honored to help them to incorporate here in Taiwan. Step 3 is what we're currently working with the ecosystem and with the government. Try to change their policy and resources where we can bring them actually, not just come here for sightseeing, but before they come, we work with them very closely. We will line up their partners here. So when they come, they can talk to people, and they can also go to the bank and open an account. Yes, it's not difficult to open a bank account for a foreigner. In fact, it takes about 2-3 days for you to do a name check online. And once you have the name checked, depending if you want to ask your fortune teller to check the Chinese character, if you don't, just go to Google Translate, come up with a Chinese name, go on web, pay the fees, and once you have a name check, bring your shareholder list, go to the bank, and then you can set up your preparation bank account with less than an hour. And then you will send your application to the international investment committees, and with less than 6 weeks, you will get your Taiwan subsidies. So that's what we want to work together to help more international teams to set up here. Of course, there are challenges. There's a lot of challenge talking about lack of funding. But I think a lot of investors from Japan and Korea are always constantly on this island. In fact, one of the most vibrant VC here in Taiwan are the SoftBank, are the Infinity Ventures. Alibaba has fund through W.A. Harper and another China Development Bank. So if you're a startup here in Taiwan, Taiwan is one of the best place for you to go to internationally. So now I would like to conclude my slides. If you have any question, I'll be around. So once again, thank you so much. I'm David from Inno. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David, for joining us this morning. And the next speaker